It's time for the 420 Radio News, covering the latest headlines in consumer cannabis, medical marijuana, and industrial hemp. Transcripts of 420 Radio News are available daily on our website at 420radio.org. Now, here's Russ Belville with your marijuana headlines in 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
This is your 420 Radio News for Monday, January 5th, 2015. A Montana judge permanently has banned enforcement of key provisions of the state's medical marijuana law. District Judge James Reynolds of Helena on Friday permanently blocked several provisions, including the ban on the advertising of marijuana and the prohibition against commercial sale for profit of marijuana to people authorized to obtain it for medical reasons. The provision against for-profit sales essentially meant that medical marijuana cardholders had to grow their own pot. Reynolds struck down provisions that restrict a medical marijuana provider from assisting more than 3 people licensed by the state to obtain legal pot or marijuana-infused products, again without them being able to be paid. The judge also ruled against a part of the law that required the state to provide the Board of Medical Examiners with the names of any physician who within a 12-month period wrote certifications for medical marijuana for 25 or more patients. 2 weeks after President Obama signed legislation prohibiting federal interference with state medical marijuana laws, his administration has told a federal judge in Sacramento that pot is still a dangerous drug with no medical value. The U.S. Attorney's Office, representing Obama's Justice Department, made the argument in a court filing Wednesday opposing a challenge to the long-standing federal law that classifies marijuana as a Schedule I drug, along with heroin, LSD, and ecstasy, substances that have a high potential for abuse and no safe medical use. While there may be, quote, some dispute among doctors as to whether marijuana is medicine, end quote, there is ample evidence to support the government's conclusion that, quote, this psychoactive addictive drug is not accepted as safe for medical use at this time, even with medical supervision, end quote, Assistant U.S. Attorney Gregory Broderick wrote. Rhode Islanders continue to use marijuana and illicit drugs at the highest rates in the nation, according to a recently released annual survey. In no other state did as many people report having used marijuana in the past month, 14% of those aged 12 and older, up from 13% the previous year, according to the National Survey on Drug Use and Health. Rhode Island was also tops for those who reported having used marijuana in the previous year, 20%, up from 19%. In the survey, Rhode Island actually edged out Colorado, which has legalized marijuana use and became the first state in the nation to allow recreational sales of the drug. Colorado had the second highest number of people reporting marijuana use in the past month, 12.7%. But the survey cannot fully reflect the effect of changes in Colorado, since legalization of marijuana took place only in late 2012 and marijuana shops did not open until 2014. In a letter sent last month, the state attorney general's office asked federal health and education officials for permission for Colorado's colleges and universities to, quote, obtain marijuana from non-federal government sources, end quote, for research purposes. The letter isn't more specific on how the state's higher education institutions might score weed, but it was sent pursuant to a law passed in 2014 requiring state officials to ask that Colorado's colleges and universities be allowed to, quote, cultivate marijuana and its component parts. Current research is riddled with bias and inefficiencies and often conflicts with one another, reads the letter, written by Deputy Attorney General David Blake. He continues, quote, it is critical that we be allowed to fill the void of scientific research, and this may only be done with your assistance and cooperation, end quote. Colorado last month awarded more than $8 million for medical marijuana research to study whether the drug treats post-traumatic stress disorder, epilepsy, and other health problems. Fewer soldiers are testing positive for marijuana in the 2 states where recreational use of the drug is illegal, an Army study of the issue obtained by the Colorado Springs Gazette has found. The change in Washington and Colorado, where legal pot is available near large Army bases, is small, but it's the reverse of what military leaders said would happen in Colorado Springs with marijuana legalization. Quote, with one minor exception, the data is trending downwards, though it remains relatively flat and the changes are statistically insignificant, end quote, Army spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Justin Platt wrote in an email from the Pentagon. The number of positive marijuana tests at Fort Carson, Colorado dropped, as well as Joint Base Lewis McChord in Washington. This has been your 420 Radio News for Monday, January 5th, 2015. I'm Russ Belville.